Tonight was the 1,000-day celebration of Roman Reigns as the WWE Universal Champion. Not the night that he hit 1,000 days. That was last weekend. But tonight was the big celebration where they were going to have the entire family, the entire bloodline was going to be there until Jimmy Uso kicked Roman Reigns in the face at Night of Champions. And then the Usos were barred from tonight's festivities, or at least they were supposed to be. We had Roman Reigns out there at the end of the show, introduced by Triple H, who had, by the way, a podium in the ring, a table, a stand of some kind with a brand new championship belt that we will talk about. But the Usos made an appearance. They crashed the party. And Jimmy Uso again standing up to Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns got in his face and Jimmy didn't back down. And Jimmy said, basically, we're not going to take it anymore. This guy right here, this guy's my brother. And that guy standing right next to you, Solo Sikoa, he's our brother too. And he put Solo in a position to have to make a choice. And just when it looked like Solo Sikoa was going to side with his brothers, there was a very subtle glance, little look that Roman Reigns gave Solo Sikoa. And Solo dropped his own brother with a Samoan spike. Even more drama in the bloodline, and we got a great cliffhanger ending where Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman are walking to the back with Solo. Paul Heyman asked Roman Reigns, what about Jay, who stayed behind in the ring to tend to his brother? What about Jay? And the key line from Roman Reigns, Jay is going to do what Jay always does. Jay is going to fall in line. Of course, Jay is not going to fall in line. That wouldn't make for a very interesting story, now would it? But the stage now is set for a big tag team match at Money in the Bank in London, with Roman Reigns tagging with Solo Sikoa against the Usos. That is the vision that I am seeing. That's the vision I saw coming out of Night of Champions, but even after tonight, even more so after tonight, that looks to be where they're heading with this storyline. And then you look ahead to SummerSlam. And there's been a lot of, talk about what could the championship match be at SummerSlam. If Roman Reigns is not going to defend his title again until SummerSlam, who is it going to be against? Is it going to be against any of the new people on SmackDown? AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley? Doesn't feel like it. I don't even know where Bobby Lashley is. We haven't seen him in weeks. Roman Reigns right now is he's insulated by this entire bloodline storyline. It's all about the bloodline. It's all about him and Jimmy and Jay and Solo. Paul Heyman, I don't think he's defending against Paul Heyman. Remember, Conor McGregor wants Paul Heyman. So Conor McGregor can have him. But it looks like we're heading to where it all began. In my opinion, where this entire bloodline story began after Roman won the championship. It all started with one man. It started with Jey Uso. Even the way they ended the show tonight, right? What is Jey going to do? He's going to fall in line. I think we get the tag team match at Money in the Bank, and it looks to me like the main event for SummerSlam this year is going to be Roman Reigns against Jey Uso. As I sit here right now, that's what it looks like to me. But one of the things about this bloodline storyline is they've set it up in such a way where there's any number of directions that they can go in. They can do Roman and Jimmy. They could do Roman and Jey. They could do Roman and Solo. I'm sure at some point we'll get all three. But Roman and Jey is really where this entire bloodline story began. And that seems to me to be the direction that they are heading in. And they've done a great job. I will give them credit. They've done a very good job of keeping the story interesting with little twists and turns. Even if you think you saw it coming, when you see it play out on television, everybody who was part of this story, from Roman Reigns all the way down through the Usos and even Paul Heyman, everybody involved in this story has played their part to perfection. Jey Uso alone, Jey Uso deserves some sort of a award. He's done a tremendous job from the very beginning of all this. The way he's evolved throughout this entire story has been probably the coolest part to me. I didn't think he had it in him. 3 years ago, I didn't think we would be looking at Jey Uso as main event anything. So everyone in this story has played their part to perfection. And the theme of tonight's SmackDown is a very similar one. It was all about the bloodline, and the bloodline segment carried the entire show. From start to finish, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., It was all about Roman Reigns. We got Roman Reigns video packages. We got Roman Reigns highlights from all of his key matches. And then we got Roman Reigns in the main event segment. And if you remove Roman Reigns and the Bloodline from this show, you don't have much of a show. That's the bad thing. What did they really give us on this show tonight? Beyond the Bloodline, what were we really looking at tonight? We were looking at 2 Money in the Bank qualifying matches. Now, it just so happens that one of those Money in the Bank qualifying matches was the best match on the entire show. It was LA Knight and Montez Ford. The other one was Zelina Vega and Lacey Evans. And the less said about that, the better. LA Knight and Montez Ford had a quality match tonight with the right outcome. But you strip everything else away. What was this show tonight? This show was just video packages, mostly video packages, commercials, and the Bloodline. That's really what SmackDown is. That's what SmackDown has become. So as much as I praise the Bloodline story, when you really kind of peel that layer away from the onion, there isn't much left. This was not a great show tonight if you take out the Bloodline stuff. You know, we didn't get Roman 4 belts, as some people thought we might in Saudi Arabia. We didn't get Roman 4 belts, but at least for one night, we did get Roman 3 belts. I assume it's just for the one night. So, good for Roman, though. Going forward, I guess his check baggage just got a little bit lighter. You know, mustard is my favorite condiment. I like ketchup, too. You know, when I made the comment once that I used to put ketchup on my steak, and people, they threw a fit when I said that. But, you know, mustard and ketchup, I'm not really a mayo guy. I think it's kind of gross. But mustard is my jam. Although jam, I guess, would be a different condiment. The reason I bring this up is just because I like mustard. It doesn't mean that I want my wrestling championship belts to look like it. And to resemble it. But that's what we got now. Because we do, in fact, have one singular WWE Undisputed Universal Championship belt, which I'm going to show you later on here in the stream. All I can say is prepare to be underwhelmed. The laziness when it comes to some of these belt designs in this company is just supremely disappointing. Why even go through the exercise of merging the 2 belts together into one and create something new if it's not really new? And now we're in a position where the consolation belt, the second place belt on Monday Night Raw, is now the most physically desirable and visually appealing of all the championships in this entire company. I may have turned a corner tonight on that second place belt. I really would have. Because my criteria is this. When I look at it, if it's something that I feel like I would want to fight for, right? That's a good championship belt. If it's something that looks like it's worth fighting for and it doesn't look like a toy, that to me is a real championship belt. And that's the belt that we have now on Raw. That's the new version of Big Gold. I don't know what the fuck this thing was tonight that they unveiled. Triple H pulled the cloth off. I was like, put it back on, put it back on. Like when Kevin Nash against Rey Mysterio, when Rey pulled his mask off and Kevin Nash was like, put the mask back on. That was me tonight when Triple H unveiled the new championship belt. Put the fucking cloth back over the belt. I'll show it to you guys later. This is your WWE Smackdown review for Friday, June 2nd. I'm ready for this month to be over. June 2nd, 2023. I am the Solomonster. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm looking for 400 likes for Be the Booker tonight. That's what we did the other night. We smashed the goal. No reason we can't do that again tonight. I know you guys are going to come through. You always come through. I'm seeing super chats pop up, just like you guys have been coming through on that too. So get those super chats on in. There is a brand new one, by the way. If you look in the description down below, it's the new $40 one. I don't know if we'll see it tonight, but that's brand new from the super chat list. Also, you can become a channel member and join our little green world order. GWO. Yes, you can, in fact, join the GWO. Applications are open. By the way, all of our new channel members, we have brand new emojis. I know some of you have already been playing with them. So go ahead and check that out. You now have access to a whole slate of new emojis. As see Steve Mello in the chat, you can thank him for those. I wanted to mention this because this is pretty cool. You know, I logged into YouTube the other day. I logged into my YouTube dashboard, and I was greeted by a very unexpected message from YouTube. This message here on your screen, it's like I unlocked a new achievement, like it's a video game. And we, in fact, did pass for the very first time 700 channel members here on YouTube. So YouTube gave me a little high five there. So I wanted to say thank you for that. And in particular, I wanted to say thank you to Silver Tower, because I don't know if Silver Tower is with us tonight or not. He might be taking a break. But Silver Tower, over the last week and a half or so, has just been on an absolute tear, and the vast majority of the gifted memberships I know have come from him. So wherever he may be, I want to say thank you to him for that. This does not happen without him. And Zizou, before I went live tonight, gifted a couple of channel memberships. Trey Broughton also gifted at least one that I noticed. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but I thank all of you for that. It's a very, very cool achievement, and it put a smile on my face when I logged in the other day and saw that Lady Fire Panda just now with a gifted channel membership as well. So, thank you all. Means a lot. SmackDown opened with Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. They were actually standing up this time instead of sitting down at the announce desk. They were standing at ringside to introduce us, welcoming us to tonight's 1,000-day celebration of Roman Reigns, and they threw it to a great video package. I already saw this on YouTube the other day, but if you didn't see it, it's actually a very, very well put together video showing the timeline of all of the legends that Roman Reigns over the last nearly 3 years has passed by, as far as the number of days that he has been the champion for. So they were showing Randy Savage, and they were showing the Ultimate Warrior, and CM Punk, and Bret Hart, and Shawn Michaels, and Diesel, and all of the different people, all the men, Yokozuna, Ric Flair, who have reigned as the WWE champion or the Universal champion. Roman has surpassed many of them. And they highlighted some of his key wins over people like Daniel Bryan and Edge and Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. So after that, Austin Theory was in the ring, and he welcomed us to Austin Theory Live. He reminded everybody that tonight is about celebrating the Tribal Chief's title reign, and he called himself the greatest United States champion of all time. I actually think that accolade would go to Lex Luger. Back in the NWA days, I think Lex Luger was probably the greatest United States champion of all time. But he said that if he combined his reign with Roman's reign, it would be a total of 1,209 days. Theory said that that would be about as inspiring as being the guy to beat John Cena at WrestleMania. And boy, we see what that did for Austin Theory. Look at all the good that beating John Cena did for Austin Theory. What has Austin Theory done since WrestleMania? It's been 2 months, 8 weeks. What has Austin Theory... Name me one thing of significance that Austin Theory has done. One truly significant victory that he has racked up. Or a great feud that he has jumped into since beating John Cena at WrestleMania. He's done nothing. A wasted victory. Not that the match was really all that good, but a wasted victory. So he can crow and gloat about it in his promos all he wants to, and they can talk about it like it's a big deal. It should have been a big deal. They had the chance to follow it up somehow with something, anything, and they didn't do anything. So it was a complete waste. He said that one day he'll have 1,000-day, or a 2,000-day, or a 3,000-day, or a 4,000-day celebration, God forbid. Then he introduced us to Pretty Deadly. This was for our opening contest. It was Austin Theory and Pretty Deadly against the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Butch, and Ridge Holland. They have... Now this was... I have to talk about this briefly here too. So Pretty Deadly has... Why is Solomonster a Punk hater? Why does he hate Punk so much? What did he ever do to him? Oh, Silver Tower. Look at that, breaking in our new $40 super chat. I knew Silver Tower, I knew he was lurking in here somewhere. I didn't see the name, but I'm like, he must be lurking. He's always like lurking in the shadows. There you go. Popping our $40 cherry here on the stream. I love it. That's your brand new $40 super chat. Silver Tower, I acknowledge you. So what I was saying is Pretty Deadly is brand new still to the main roster, right? They haven't been on SmackDown for very long. Pretty Deadly came out tonight to brand new music. They've already changed their music. They've only been on the main roster 2 weeks. They've already changed their music. And they've changed their music to something that sounds like it was ripped right from an ABBA album. And honestly, it suits them. It suits them. I mentioned this on Twitter. People thought I was saying I hate the I hate the song. I didn't say I hated the song. I'm just pointing out it sounds like a fucking ABBA song. And it actually fits their personas. Sheamus hit 3 consecutive Irish curse backbreakers at one point to each opponent. And then they did a spot where all 3 members of the Brutes delivered a triple white noise to each man at the same time. Sheamus then dropped Theory with a brogue kick, but he fell close enough to the ropes for Pretty Deadly to grab him and pull him out to safety. Until Ridge Holland mowed them down, and then Sheamus came off the top rope onto Pretty Deadly. Every time Sheamus goes up to the tower, he looks so nervous. I mean, that's what happens, I guess, when you're 45 with spinal stenosis. You got to be careful when you go to the top rope. But he does it in almost every match. I mean, he really doesn't have to go airborne, but he does. So he landed on Pretty Deadly outside the ring. And when they got back to their feet, Butch followed with a moonsault from the middle rope to the floor, wiping out the heels. And so the Brutes had all the momentum going into the second commercial break here of this match. The Brutes hit the 10 beats, 3 of them at the same time on 3 different sides of the ring. So we got a triple 10 beats on Pretty Deadly and Theory. Theory kneed Butch in the face. Sheamus then took Theory out to the floor. Meanwhile, Ridge Holland got shot blocked by Kit Wilson. And Pretty Deadly dropped him with their spilt milk finish and then tagged in Theory, who scurried inside and pinned Ridge Holland to win the match for his team. This match did not need to go 18 minutes. 18 minutes this match went through 2 commercial breaks. And look, there are some matches where they don't go long enough. This match went too long. You could have shaved at least 5 minutes off this match. There was no reason for this match to go that long. The work was fine, but they would have been better off shaving at least 5 minutes off this thing. I was happy to see Pretty Deadly, though, pick up a win and be on the winning side of things. You know, they basically won the match with their finish. They just allowed Theory to tag in and take the glory. The Brawling Brutes could really use some wins, but this was more about establishing Pretty Deadly and giving them a win. And I can't say that was a bad thing. They should be building up Pretty Deadly. They need it. You know, the Brawling Brutes, I say they need a win, but they're already established. So get the new guys over, and then the Brawling Brutes can start winning some matches. Paul Heyman was shown backstage, and he was talking to Solo SIKOA. Heyman said that the night has to be special for Roman Reigns. And SIKOA, of course, Solo said absolutely nothing. He just stood there. Heyman said that he was going to go talk to Adam Pearce to make sure the Usos would not be around during the celebration later in the show. Well, we all know how that turned out. We got a segment with the OC in the back. They were all talking. AJ Styles came in. It was AJ's birthday. How old is AJ? Is he 45 now or 46? I don't know. It was somewhere in that range. But I guess it was AJ's birthday, and Styles asked Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson to go take out Death Row after Death Row released a diss track towards them on social media earlier in the day. I'm sorry I missed that. I'm sorry I did not get a chance to hear the diss track that Hit Row apparently dropped on the OC, but that led to the match that we got here next, which was Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows against Flop Dollar and Ashanti the Adonis. I was shocked that this match actually made television. I couldn't believe it. Mia Yim was in the corner of the OC. B-Fab was in the corner of Hit Row. Ashanti got the better of Carl Anderson to kick things off here in this match. By the way, let me take a quick pause here and say...
Look at Richie Rich over here.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Money on me. Hey, I just want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A-Rock. You rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
I was literally just going to put over Fahad. I just looked over. I saw his name dropping a $120 super chat to make a very concise, to-the-point statement here. I won't even wait until later in the stream to say it. He says the new belt is ugly. If Fahad says it, you know it's true. I can't argue with Fahad. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the $100 plus bomb. So Ashanti got the better of Carl Anderson, went right after him to start the match. Top Dollar tagged in. He did a few moves, tagged out. Ashanti came back in. Anderson finally was able to break through with a spine buster. Gallows got the tag, took everybody out. Anderson tagged back in. They hit the Magic Killer on Ashanti for the win. After the match was over, Top Dollar was a sour sport, and he attacked the OC, but he did not see AJ Styles on the apron readying for a phenomenal forearm, and AJ sailed through the air. He took down Flop Dollar. Nice little birthday gift to himself there. And to all of us. Michael Cole, by the way, at the end of the segment, tried to rap. Michael Cole is just merciless as far as making fun of Hit Row, and specifically Flop Dollar. So he actually mocked them by doing some rapping of his own. Now, it wasn't very good, but he gets an A for effort. I'll give him an A. I don't even know if the rap was any good, but I'll give him an A for effort. There's no clear direction for AJ Styles now because he went to Night of Champions. He lost to Seth Rollins. He went to Monday Night Raw because fuck the brand split. And he tagged with Rollins on Monday night. They beat the Judgment Day. Which makes all the sense in the world, by the way, because not only did the Judgment Day lose on Monday night, Damian Priest is the one who took the pinfall loss to Seth Rollins. So naturally, Damian Priest is getting a championship match against Seth Rollins on Raw this Monday night. Make it make sense. Was it really necessary to pin Damian Priest on Monday if he was going to accept the open challenge that Seth laid out and is challenging for the consolation belt on Monday? Apparently so. But as far as AJ Styles goes, now that that's over with, what do you do with AJ? It's very clear AJ is not getting anywhere near Roman Reigns anytime soon. The story is not Roman and AJ. The story is Roman and the Bloodline. So what about AJ Styles and Austin Theory for the United States Championship? That's my best guess as far as what they're going to do with AJ. Maybe he could be the one to take the U.S. title off of Theory. But Anderson and Gallows, I got to give a shout out to Anderson and Gallows. Maze, you make a good point. Maze wants to know, when am I going to stop applying logic? I don't know. I'm just a logical guy. If you've been listening to me for 16 years, you know this. I can't. It's a force of habit. I can't help myself. I see something that doesn't make sense. I try to make sense out of it. I don't always succeed, but I try. I have to try. But I want to give a shout out to Anderson and Gallows because these guys are sitting pretty, man. They negotiate what I'm sure was a sweet deal because they're not coming back unless they get a sweet deal, right? They could have just stayed in New Japan. So they negotiate a sweet deal with Triple H to come back to the company. They wrestle. I don't know how many times they actually wrestle with house shows and everything. Probably not very often, but they show up on television once every 2 or 3 months. They have the obligatory television match that nobody cares about. And they get their paycheck and they go home. And of course, Anderson talks about his hot Asian wife, and he's got 16 kids, and he's probably got 2 houses. He's got a summer home and a winter home. He's probably got 5 swimming pools. I mean, hey, I have to say, these guys have game. I mean, I give them a lot of credit, right? I really do. It's a sweet gig. So Adam Pearce was shown in the back talking to Paul Heyman, saying that the Usos would not be allowed in the building tonight, even if they show up. He's taking great measures to make sure the Usos will not get in. You should know by now that if Adam Pearce tells you that so-and-so is not allowed in the building and so-and-so is not going to be able to enter the building, that he's full of shit. But this is what he told Paul Heyman. And of course, Paul Heyman is too lazy to dial Roman's phone number. And so what does he do? He takes out his phone, call Roman Reigns. And then he walked away. Next was the worst segment of the entire night. This was an absolute train wreck. It was the Grayson Waller show with your host, Grayson Waller. He was there to interview the new Raw Women's Champion here on SmackDown, the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, who took the title from Bianca Belair in Saudi Arabia last weekend. This, as I said, was a train wreck is what this turned into. This segment had Vince McMahon written all over it. Waller welcomed Asuka to the ring. She came out, and Waller immediately threw it to a video package showing highlights of the women's title match at Night of Champions. It was the 1,000-day celebration tonight for Roman Reigns on the show. It was also the night of 1,000 video packages. Somebody pointed out to me, by the way, in the comments section, it might have been here on YouTube under the Night of Champions review, and they're right. I had completely forgotten about this. When I reviewed the match, I really liked the finish to the Asuka-Bianca Belair match, where Asuka, after missing her with the mist, she sprayed the mist on her fingers, and that's how she blinded Bianca. And I thought that was a very clever finish. And I said I had never seen a mist spot like that before. Not true. I was reminded by somebody that Lord Tensai used to do that very same. Now, he didn't have green mist, but Lord Tensai, remember Lord Tensai? How can you forget? I was in the building that night on Raw when he finally made his debut, the night after WrestleMania 28. He came out with his, God, who was his manager again? I forgot the manager's name. But he used to spit probably water on his hand, and then he would like give his opponent the claw. I think that's what he used to do. So I stand corrected. Asuka is the second person that I've ever seen do a spot like that. The first was Lord Tensai. Thank you for correcting me. So Asuka announced that she is the Raw Women's Champion, and she danced. Grayson pointed to the Money in the Bank briefcases that were hanging above the ring. It is Money in the Bank season, right? WrestleMania season, you point to the WrestleMania sign. Money in the Bank season, you look above because you get two briefcases hanging over your head every single week. He said that there are women in the locker room who think that they are ready for Asuka. And unfortunately, the camera caught Asuka putting the blue goo in her mouth. So, oops. It's kind of like all those times that the AEW production team, which is blatantly show Jon Moxley blading himself. Thankfully, they seem to have gotten away from that, thankfully. So, Io Sky's music hit. Now I got excited. This is the match that I mentioned last week. This right here is the match that I want to see. Io Sky comes down to the ring. She and Asuka begin screaming at each other in Japanese. I really wish we could get subtitles here. I know it's live television, so even though they script the promos out, I mean, they know what they're going to say. But it's live television. It's hard to do. I get it, but I wish they had subtitles for this. Bayley's music interrupted, and then Bayley came out. And she said that either her or Io are going to win the briefcase. Then she got cut off by Shotzi. I hate these segments. I hate these segments with just the fire of 1,000 suns. I hate these segments where you have this revolving door of promos and people being interrupted. They don't do it as much really in AEW. I mean, they've done it in AEW, but this is a WWE Vince McMahon specialty. I hate these segments. So Shotzi gets cut off by Lacey Evans. And Lacey Evans has completed her Sergeant Slaughter cosplay, right down to the hat. Before she had the fatigues, she was acting like Sergeant Slaughter. She had the Cobra Clutch. But now, I mean, the only thing missing was that baton thing that he used to carry around with him back in the 80s. She had the Sergeant Slaughter hat. So she has completed her cosplay. She said the Money in the Bank contract would be hers. Sure. If she goes to WWE shop and buys one of the replica Money in the Bank briefcases, then she'll have the Money in the Bank briefcase. Zelina Vega walked out, and she said that everybody in the ring was underestimating her. but they do so at their own risk. She said Lacey could trade her piss-soaked boots for red bottoms, and she still wouldn't be half the woman that she is. So while all of this was going on, and Zelina at this point now gets in the ring, and all of the women are just arguing amongst each other. And while this is going on, Asuka has retreated to the stage, and she starts screaming to get everybody's attention. And Asuka says that no one is ready for Asuka. And as she's saying this, Bianca Belair comes up and sneak attacks her from behind, winds her around, and now the two of them start brawling until they get separated by the referees. This segment was awful. This was absolute trash. I do wonder, as far as Grayson Waller is concerned, or Waller, I guess I should say Waller. Grayson Waller. As far as Grayson Waller, if he's hurt, and that's why we haven't seen him wrestle, because, again, hasn't been on the main roster for that long, but we've seen Cameron Grimes wrestle, we've seen Pretty Deadly wrestle. We have not seen Grayson Waller in a match yet. I think he got hurt in that last match he had with Carmelo Hayes in NXT. So I'm wondering if he is hurt, and that may be why we haven't seen him in an actual match yet. So, look, we don't know yet all of the women who are going to end up qualifying for the Money in the Bank match this year. It doesn't matter, because the only name on that briefcase this year should be Io Sky. Io Sky should win the Money in the Bank briefcase and cash in for a match with Asuka at SummerSlam. And that really is the only acceptable outcome to me. Now, after this, we had footage of Baron Corbin attacking Carmelo Hayes, the NXT champion, at the end of NXT on Tuesday night, and holding up the NXT championship, because Baron Corbin now is a free agent. And Baron Corbin can show up anywhere he wants to. So he chose to attack the NXT champion. They cut back live. Cameron Grimes is in the back watching this with Adam Pearce. And Cameron Grimes, who's been feuding with Baron Corbin, says that if Baron Corbin ever decides to show his face on SmackDown again, I'm going to take care of him. Just to remind you, that feud is not over yet. We had a Money in the Bank, our first of two Money in the Bank qualifying matches here on this show. Zelina Vega one-on-one against Lacey Evans. They showed footage of Lacey during the commercial break. She cheap-shotted Zelina. As they were in the ring, they were dismantling the Grayson Waller talk show set. She cheap-shotted her. She gave her the woman's right. Punched her right in the face. So now we're back live. Zelina is holding her jaw. The referee is checking with her to make sure, are you okay? Can you compete? She says yes. And at that point, Lacey Evans took about 95% of the match, until Zelina Vega out of nowhere hit a code red and she pinned Lacey to win the match. That's it. That's all that happened. So Zelina Vega goes to Money in the Bank. I mean, that should have been a given. Zelina Vega now is part of the LWO. Zelina Vega is coming off of a championship match in Puerto Rico at Backlash. She's part of the LWO, which has become very popular. Lacey Evans has not appeared on television in months. You tell me, who did you think was going over in this match? Was there ever any doubt about who was going over or who should go over in this match? Come on. Come on. So now Lacey can go back to boot camp, and she could do some more drills. Backstage, Santos Escobar told Zelina that Latinos worldwide were celebrating her after her big win tonight. He then said that he would qualify for the Money in the Bank men's match next week. Rey Mysterio walked up behind both of them and said that everybody would soon call them Mr. and Ms. Money in the Bank. Silver Tower dropping 20 additional gifted channel memberships. Santa Silver Tower has once again visited us. All the boys and girls have been very good this year because Santa Silver Tower has visited with us again. You know, if I knew that Santa Silver Tower was going to be here, I would have left some milk and cookies for him. I forgot to go buy my Chips Ahoy today. I apologize. In the other Money in the Bank qualifying match, the best match on the show tonight, LA Knight, one-on-one with Montez Ford. Michael Cole, on commentary and recounting the events of Raw this past Monday night, told us that Shinsuke Nakamura and The Miz have both qualified already for the men's Money in the Bank match. Boy, that must be news to Ricochet. Because I don't know about you, I could have sworn that I saw Ricochet beat The Miz on Monday night, but maybe I'm just imagining things. So somebody forgot to let Ricochet know that. The crowd, the story here is that the crowd booed Montez Ford. Not because they hate Montez Ford, but because, of course, they like LA Knight. All you got to do is put the show on every week, and you could tell these crowds love LA Knight. They're warming up to him more and more every single week. The man did not even have a match on the card in Saudi Arabia, and the Saudi people were chanting LA Knight at Triple H during the press conference the day before Night of Champions. This is a man, Wade Barrett mentioned this on commentary. He said, in storyline, LA Knight is pissed at being left off the WrestleMania card, as he should be. He's pissed about being left off the Backlash card, as he should be. He was pissed about being left off the Night of Champions card, as he should be. He will not be left off the Money in the Bank card, as he should not be. So he was getting a positive reaction here during this match. We did the yay boos back and forth between him and Montez Ford. Ford landed a back suplex, and then he kicked up, got a heel reaction. Ford attempted a standing moonsault. Knight, though, got out of the way, and he picked up Montez for a torture rack neck breaker. Knight went for a springboard moonsault. This was very scary because he nearly under-rotated himself right into paralysis. Thankfully, he just got over a little bit more, and he was okay, but that was a little close. That was a little too close for comfort. Ford got out of the way of that. He delivered a rock bottom for a near fall. Both men ended up on the top rope in the corner. Ford landed a headbutt. Who's the head bot here? I don't know. Someone tell me, who's the head bot? Is it Max? I think Max is the head bot in the chat. So LA Knight gets head-butted down to the mat. Montez Ford then hits his goes for his gigantic frog splash, but LA Knight rolls out of the way. Ford lands on his feet. He ends up rolling up LA Knight. Now, this scared me because it looked like he was going to get the win here. They got me with this near fall. He was right by the ropes, and he had LA Knight rolled up. LA Knight rolled through, so now he rolled up Montez. The referee, I think it was Jessica Carr, could not see LA Knight at 2.5, grabbed the middle rope for added leverage, and LA Knight pins Montez Ford to advance to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match next month. After the match, they showed a replay. While that was all going on, Knight pulled out a giant ladder from under the ring, and he climbed the ladder, was standing right underneath the briefcases, posing as the crowd cheered. Those facial expressions, if you watch the match, every time the crowd gave Montez Ford a heel reaction and they would boo him, he made a certain face. It almost reminded me of The Rock in the ring with Hogan at WrestleMania, when the crowd was booing The Rock, and The Rock just, he had the natural instinct to just feed off of it, play into it, react to it. That kind of is what Montez Ford kind of reminded me of here in this match. Some of the facial expressions and his mannerisms, he was playing into it. And I'm watching him do that, and I don't have a doubt in my mind that one day this guy is going to be a great heel. Whenever they're ready to pull the trigger on this guy, he's going to be a great heel. LA Knight may be the only man to ever come out of a feud with Bray Wyatt more over than he was going into it. I can't think of anybody else. Who else feuded with Bray Wyatt, whether he was the cult leader or he was the Fiend or any other incarnation of Bray Wyatt, and actually came out of it more over than they were going into it? LA Knight may be the only person in the world. Unbelievable. Your Money in the Bank winners this year, LA Knight and Io Sky. That's it. And then it was time for the 1,000-day celebration. We are already here. Look at this. I told you, this show was mostly just commercial breaks and video packages. It was the 1,000-day celebration of Roman Reigns as champion. And Triple H came to the ring to kick things off. Bliss fan says Daniel Bryan. Well, yeah, you know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Just because Bryan was already super over at that point. But I think back to that segment in the cage when he broke free of the Wyatt family. Those are the early days of Bray Wyatt. I'll give you that. I'll say Daniel Bryan too. Even though Daniel Bryan was already mega over and was already, should have been well on his way to a WrestleMania main event, I'll give you Daniel Bryan. but I can't think of anybody else. So Triple H came down to the ring. In the ring was a podium with a championship belt that was being covered. So the rumors of them were true. The rumors of them merging the two existing championship belts into one physical belt were indeed true. Do not ask me what lineage this new belt follows, because it's not as if they told us. That has not yet been acknowledged. I will say, though, that the belt, and I may as well, for those who may have missed it here on this show, there's the new belt. This is now the son of the WWE and the Universal Championship belts. They got together, they had a drunken one-night stand, and out popped the mustard belt. This is now the new, merged, undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And again, as far as the lineage is concerned, all I will say, you can't really tell in this image, but it says undisputed champion on the bottom. It doesn't say universal. It says undisputed champion. So I would hope that they're sticking with the title as far as lineage that has 60 years behind it, and not the one that has less than 10. Because all I can say is, I would laugh if they retired the WWE title history and Cody now can't finish his story. I would just laugh. So AAA, I'm going to keep it up on the screen so you guys can appreciate the greatness of this brand new championship here. So Triple H stood in the ring and he spoke about Roman Reigns as being on the same level as Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali, and he reminded the crowd to appreciate that they were seeing a future legend perform here in his prime. He then brought out, I told that to a friend of mine recently about LeBron James, and he just went on a whole rant. Apparently people don't like LeBron. Who knew? So then Triple H introduced Roman Reigns, who was flanked by Paul Heyman and Solo SIKOA. Triple H congratulated him on surpassing 1,000 days as champion, something that has not happened in WWE, he said, in nearly 40 years. He also brought him out here to congratulate him and to celebrate his grand achievement. He said that it was his honor to present him with a brand new, undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which is, again, what you see here on your screen for those of you watching live. It is the same tired design that these belts have had for a decade now. A decade. Can you believe that when The Rock came out on Raw, when The Rock was the champion in 2013, and The Rock came out and he unveiled the brand new belt, the design has more or less been the same now for 10 years. It is the same tired design. The Winged Eagle belt that I love, so that you see over my shoulder there, they didn't even give the Winged Eagle belt more than a decade. It was a decade later, and they unveiled a completely different, there it is, right over my shoulder. They went from what you see on the left to what you see on the right. So it's not like it's a radical change, but obviously it's a different belt. And it's a nice looking belt. The Big Eagle is also a very beautiful championship belt. But yet the design of the existing belt has barely changed at all. They settled on it. This is what it's going to be. 20 years from now, it'll be the same fucking belt. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they stick with the same tired design. And the big gold belt now, the consolation belt on Raw, is the most visually pleasing belt in the entire company. That's the belt that I want, not that one, not the one they showed us tonight, not this one. And believe me, I've seen uglier belts than this. It's just, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. So Roman held up his new gold belt. And then Triple H Velcroed it around his waist. Roman smiled, he gloated. He demanded that the entire universe acknowledge him. The Usos' music hit and they appeared on stage. So again, so much for what Adam Pearce told Paul Heyman earlier in the show. And Triple H exited the ring, never to be seen again. And yes, I am aware of the fact that they love their corporate logo belts. And fuck Bully Ray. In case you didn't know. Silver Tower, thank you for that, man. Thank you for the $30 Bully the Clown. So yes, I'm aware that they love their logo belts. I'm talking about just the overall design, the shape, everything about the belt. You couldn't change it to a different style logo belt. I'm not saying make it a triangle, but you couldn't make any changes to this thing other than the fact that now the backing is gold, a yellowish gold. It's just lazy. It is lazy as shit. I've seen what these belt makers can do. These belt makers make beautiful championship belts in other promotions. There are independent wrestling belts that look better than that. This belt right here, the House of Glory World Champion. I swear to you, I am not just saying this because I'm the commissioner. Okay, clearly you could say I have a bias. I swear to you, I am not saying this because I am the commissioner. The House of Glory World Championship looks better than this. There's just no reason for it. So they went to a commercial break. The big hook here was that the Usos were coming down, right? It's actually a smart moment to go to a commercial break and try to keep people, hooked to find out what was going to happen. So that was very smart. Come back from break. Roman is yelling. He's ordering Jey Uso to kick his brother in the face and fix this, but he wouldn't do it. Jimmy told Roman, the only one around here who needs fixing is you. He said that he did what he did at Night of Champions, not to become the tribal chief. He said he's not looking to replace Roman. That's not why he did it. He's not looking to lead the bloodline. He did it because he was being a brother. And brothers treat brothers with love and respect. And lately, Roman hasn't been such a good brother. It's because he's not a brother. He's a cousin. He says, what kind of brother manipulates and betrays and beats down his own family? Well, I mean, I used to do that when I was younger, right? Anybody who has a little brother, I mean, come on. That's half the fun. Beating up your little brother, putting him in wrestling holds. So, I'm guilty. He says, you have gone crazy. Jey is his brother, and so is Solo. And he looked over at Solo SIKOA, and he told Solo, when Roman is done with you, he's going to cast you aside and kick you down in the dirt. The crowd cheered when he said that, and they showed Solo, he was like looking down at the mat, pondering all of this. And the crowd cheered, because they were trying to encourage Solo, like, oh yeah, he's telling the truth. You really should go with your brothers. Roman called Jimmy an imposter, acting like he was the leader of the bloodline. Why don't we just hear from Solo? He said, who he's loyal to and who he runs with around here. And Roman handed the microphone over to Solo SIKOA. And Solo just stood there contemplating what his words were going to be and what he was about to say. He told Roman finally, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. But these two right here, they're my brothers. And he handed the mic back over to Roman Reigns, and he slowly walked over to where Jimmy and Jey were standing. And again, the crowd cheered. This is what they wanted to see. This is what they've been waiting for. So now all three Usos are standing together. And I'm looking at Jimmy and Jey and Solo, and I think on Raw, I think about Raw where we have Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci and even the Judgment Day, you've got Balor and Priest and Dominic, and you've got the Brawling Brutes with Sheamus and Butch and Ridge Holland, and you've got the LWO, and I'm like, if anybody should have trios belts, it's WWE. If ever there was and I'm not advocating this, I think WWE is fine as far as titles go right now, but I'm just saying, it's been a very long time since WWE had this deep of a bench when it comes to trios. And if they wanted to have trios belts, I'm just saying now probably would be the best time to introduce them. I can't remember the last time they had this many trios on their roster. So now all three Usos standing together, and Jimmy asked Roman, what's it going to be? What's your next move? Says, you want to run this thing with respect? Or do you want to end up on the island of relevancy all by yourself? Roman came at him and told him to shut his mouth, but before he could get it all out, Jimmy pie-faced him again. That was great. That was great. Didn't even give him a chance to finish his sentence, and Jimmy just pie-faces him. Roman came at him after that, but Jay stepped in between them. Jay tried to play peacemaker here. He saw that things were falling apart, and he couldn't take much more of this. He's trying to talk some sense into these two. He told them, we can't be fighting like this. I need both of you. Jimmy said, you know what, Jay's right. We're stronger together. Let's do this together and run this place like we've been doing. Because we're still the ones, right? And Roman thought about it, and then he went in and he hugged Jimmy. And Roman started tearing up, started to get very emotional, even looked up to the sky at one point as he was embracing Jimmy. And then he said, no. And this is where he very quickly glanced over at Solo. I mean, it was so quick, you could have easily missed it if you weren't paying attention. And Solo SIKOA delivered a Samoan spike to Jimmy Uso. And Jey Uso stood there watching all this, and obviously he was not expecting it. He was distraught, and he knelt down over his brother. Roman left the ring with Paul Heyman. Solo followed, leaving Jimmy and Jay in the ring by themselves. And once they got up where the stage is, Paul Heyman asked Roman, he goes, what about Jay? And Roman told him, Jay's going to do what he always does. Fall in line. And that's how they went off the air. No, he won't. Spoiler! No, he won't. Jay is going to side with Jimmy. You know, they may drag this out because Money in the Bank is not for another 4 weeks, but we're going to come to find out that Jay is standing with Jimmy. And my prediction is we get the tag team match at Money in the Bank. You know, Roman, they've already established that Roman only defends the title maybe half a dozen times in an entire year. So I would be shocked if Roman Reigns defended his championship at Money in the Bank and then again 4 weeks later at SummerSlam. It's clear to me they're going to save the title defense, I think, for SummerSlam. So what do in July? They do Roman and Solo against Jimmy and Jay. I don't know if there'll be a stipulation attached or not. The direction I see them going in, what it feels like to me right now for SummerSlam at Ford Field is Roman and Jay for the championship. Could be Roman and Solo. If Solo finally sees the error of his ways and he realizes, and this will happen at some point, it is inevitable that Solo SIKOA is going to realize that what Jimmy Uso told him tonight is 100% true. Roman doesn't give a shit about you. He's using you. He's taking advantage of you and your loyalty. And when Solo realizes that, we will get the inevitable Roman Reigns Solo SIKOA match. That could be SummerSlam. But that's not the story. If you want to do a big match at SummerSlam, and they're not doing Roman and AJ, or Roman and Cody, or anything like that, someone outside the bloodline, Jey Uso is the only one that makes sense. Not even Jimmy. Roman and Jay. That feels like the SummerSlam direction to me. And that day will come that Solo SIKOA will join with his brothers, but tonight was not that night. So as usual, the Bloodline story delivered. Great segment to close out the show. LA Knight and Montez Ford had a very good match with some believable near falls and the right man going over. And that's it. That's it. The rest of this show felt like a complete waste of time. It just felt like filler. And I know it wasn't, again, they're trying to build Pretty Deadly and, you could see where they were trying certain things, but again, you strip away the stuff at the very top of the card. There's just not much there. I used to sit here and tell you guys, like, oh, SmackDown's the A show. And it still feels like the A show because the Bloodline story is, it still has some steam behind it. I thought it lost some steam coming out of WrestleMania, but it's picked up again over the last few weeks. But you take that away, and when this story is done, they're in real trouble. Because they're going to have to find something as compelling or close to as compelling as the Bloodline story to keep people really interested in the week-to-week on this show without the bloodline, if Roman loses and then finally disappears for 6 months, what are they going to do? They're going to have to focus on other talent, but they're going to have to take the time to build interesting stories. They haven't really done that. So it's hard for me to even grade a show like this because I love that closing segment, but I didn't think this show was all that good. Really wasn't. Now they're having more Money in the Bank qualifiers on TV next Friday. We have 4 of them, actually. Butch, one-on-one with Baron Corbin. Santos Escobar, one-on-one with Mustafa Ali. That's two free agents, by the way. Ali is also a free agent who is on NXT this week. So that's 2. The 2 women's is Mia Yim, one-on-one with Bayley, and Shotzi is going to go one-on-one with Io Sky. My God. Shotzi and Io Sky. Why bother? Just give Io a bye into the fucking match, please. Seriously. Why even bother? Let's go to the Twitter poll. See what you guys thought of the show. 75% of you have given the Bloodline angle a thumbs up. And 25% have given this show a thumbs down. That is with just shy of 1,000 votes in so far. So at Solomonster, you guys know where to go. At Solomonster is where you can find me on the Twitter machine. On the Twitter machine. The goal tonight for Be the Booker, by the way, was 400 likes, and you guys have boosted us over 400 as of, 30 seconds ago. So you have that to look forward to later. I have done horrendously bad in Be the Booker. We have gone 0 for 3, I think, on back-to-back streams. We cannot pull the hat trick off tonight. We cannot. I will officially close down Solomonster Championship Wrestling if I go 0 for 3 in this fucking Be the Booker tonight. Can't happen. Can't happen. Trey thinks that Bayley is accidentally going to cost Io Sky a spot in Money in the Bank. That would be absolutely horrible. See, I just think it makes more sense to have Bayley and Io in the Money in the Bank match. That way you could do spots with them. And if if Io doesn't win Money in the Bank, at least she's in it. Maybe Bayley screws her over there. But to not even have them in Money in the Bank, I mean, what would be the sense in that? At least one of them are going to qualify. Why not both of them? I don't have any interest in seeing Shotzi in that Money in the Bank match. I mean, we've seen Shotzi, do certain moves and take certain risks before. I have no interest in seeing her trying to climb ladders and do dives and all kinds of crazy shit in a Money in the Bank match. So let's hope that does not happen. Let's hope that does not happen. Now, there was a member chat that I wanted to just answer here before we get going on the super chat. Shout out to Alex. Alex Ali. He's been a channel member for a month now. He wanted to know if the WWE 2K23 Sound Off Gamer videos, when they are going to continue, because the last one was me. JM with the $25 Brie mode activation. Thank you, JM. The answer is yes. They are going to be returning soon. I was going to record one a few days ago. I got sick. That's the only reason why I didn't do it. So hopefully I will be able to sit down and play the game on Sunday. And maybe as early as Sunday night or Monday, you guys might get episode 8 of Sound Off Gamer. We got to at least get to 10, I think, right before Fight Forever comes out. I've seen more of the AEW Fight Forever gameplay. It looks like a lot of fun, for all the talk about graphics and everything. And all the delays and the delays and the delays. The game actually looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play. So when that game drops at the end of June, I'm not saying I'll totally stop the 2K one, but we're going to start doing some Fight Forever gameplays as well. All right, let's get into your super chats here. If you have questions, feel free to drop one. We got a brand new one too in the description down below. Lady Fire Panda dropping a $20 super chat. wants to know, as a question for the chat, who is Solomonster? A podcaster, a YouTuber, a streamer, or a cam girl? Put your answer in the chat. How did you know? Rob G, ever a fan of Howard Stern or Mike Francesa? I used to listen to Howard on the way into. I used to commute, by bus into work. I had this old, actually the very first MP3 player I ever owned had FM radio on there. So before he went to satellite, I would listen in the morning. That lasted maybe 3 months, and then he went over to Sirius, and I don't subscribe to Sirius, so not a big fan, where I was listening every day or anything, but I would listen. My father was a big Stern guy. He'd be out on the road and would listen to him all the time. Francesa, I don't know that I would call myself a fan of Francesa. Francesa, though, has made me laugh maybe more than any other sportscaster in the history of the world. And there's a great account on Twitter called Funhouse, and I think the handle is back after this. Because I know Mike on his show used to go, back after this, and then they'd go to commercial. So look it up. It's back after AFTA this. And I think Mike is retired now. I don't even think he's doing a show anymore, but it posts classic clips of Francesa, and it is just the funniest shit. It is the one that I laughed, I think, the hardest at is when Stan Lee died, of Marvel fame. Not that I laughed at the fact that Stan Lee died, but he died, and one of the callers called into Mike's show and said, "Hey, Mike, what are your thoughts on Stan Lee passing away?" And Mike was like, "What? Who?" He goes, "Stan Lee." And Mike goes, "Who's that?" And you literally, on the other end of the line, you hear the caller go, "Jesus," and then you hear it click. And Mike is like, "Hello?" He goes, "Who's Stan Lee?" And then his producer goes, he explains he's the comic book guy. And Mike, just the most sensitive, it's just a heartwarming moment, just goes, "Oh, who cares?" I want him to do the eulogy at my funeral. It would be so touching and so emotional. Who's Stan Lee? He's that comic book guy, Spider-Man and all that. Oh, who cares? Oh, who cares? Oh my God. Yeah, Francesa talking about the Civil War. I'm telling you, man.
In my eye.
There are some classic clips on that account. Hey, Road Warrior Roderick, thank you for the 1992 Ric Flair super chat. I'm going to get to your message in a little bit. Thank you. Thomas Colella with the $20 super chat. I don't know if you remember me a few months ago when I told you how I lost my brother Johnny, and the streams have helped me get through it. Today is 1 year, and I knew last week tonight was a stream. Thank you for doing this. I do remember. Thomas is usually with us on most weeks. And again, I'm very sorry about your loss. And why is Solomonster a Punk hater? Why does he hate Punk so much? What did he ever do to him? JM with the impeccable timing there. JM, thank you. That's the brand new super chat I was talking about. Your timing is just is something else, man. But thank you very much. But again, Thomas, I'm very sorry for your loss, and can't believe it's been a year. Wow. Fluff Salisbury. I just want to tell you that I took your advice and I have bought a ton of Raid for Punk's second Oh, very good, yes. That was an email that I sent Brother Fluff. And I'm glad that you are taking my advice. You want me to? Is it okay for me to tell? I assume it's okay for me to tell the story. I mean, I apologize if not, but as the story goes, Fluff suffered a pretty serious injury. Suffered a pretty serious spider bite around the time of the Punk return 2 years ago. And again, it was pretty serious stuff there. So now that Punk is coming back, he was concerned. And I told him to just hose himself down and raid, just to make sure that nothing can come near him, nothing will bite him, nothing will, he'll be totally safe. I did tell him though that if Punk flames out again and has a third return, third time's a charm, he might be on his own. At that point, I don't know if I could help him, but yes, a can of Raid I think would do you some good. Trey with the $5. If you can intern for any on-screen authority figure, who would it be? I am an on-screen authority figure. I mean, we don't have a TV deal at the moment. We do stream though, so like, I feel like I can't really answer that because I am technically an on-screen authority figure. I feel like that's a conflict of interest here. I wouldn't want to intern for any of them. I am one. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes goes, I am him. That's me. I am him. So I'm gonna have to give you the non-answer answer. Just because I feel like that would be a conflict of interest. But if anybody wants to intern for me, Commissioner could always use some help. And every Batman has his Robin. Jeremy Watley also just wants to wish Braun well. C4 nerve damage. Braun Strowman underwent surgery for his neck. Fusion, I think, a first level fusion of C4 and C5, I believe it was. So he's going to be out for a while. That is why the tag team with Ricochet suddenly became Ricochet doing singles again, because Braun is going to be out. I have no idea. I mean, something like that is probably cumulative. I can't imagine that was from one bump. I don't know what bump that would have been. It's probably a cumulative thing. I don't know if the recovery for the type of fusion he had, if it's, different than the other fusions that typically it's like a year or more. I don't want to say that he's going to be gone for over a year, but that sounds like the type of injury that's going to keep him out for a year. Jeremy again. Jordan Grace is now a free agent. Hopefully she is WWE or AEW bound. She really is a female main event level talent. I think could get over huge. Yeah, I mean, we've had Jordan Grace in House of Glory. I've been able to call some of her matches, and she's a great talent. So anybody who picks her up is going to have a strong addition to their women's division. Naughty Delicious Chicken with Flavor WWE World Heavyweight Title Belt is better. I agree. Crypto in Poker says, thank you, Solo, for still staying pay-per-view instead of PLE. It will always be pay-per-view to me. Premium live event. It will always be the PPV to me. Joshua Stitch with a $20 super chat. The Bloodline angle has me fantasy booking the payoff at SummerSlam being The Rock against Roman Reigns. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I feel like WWE is not going with Rhodes and Reigns too until WrestleMania 40. What are your thoughts? Roman Reigns against Jey Uso. That's it. You got to give up the whole Rock and Roman thing. It's not happening. Never gonna happen. It didn't happen this year. It ain't happening. You got to let that ghost go. It will always be belt to Solo. When did I ever stop calling it a belt? That's what it is. It's a belt. See, that's the beauty of not working for WWE. I'm not bound by their stupid rules. So I can call it a belt, and I can call it a pay-per-view, and I don't get 10 demerits because of it. I don't get 10 lashes with the kendo stick. Naughty Delicious. The Bloodline story keeps getting better and better every single week. So much drama and plot twists. It's like a Samoan soap opera. Studio Dragon Gaming. Roman has 3 belts now. I don't know. Paul Heyman may walk out every week with those 2 belts over his shoulder. I actually think it makes for a better visual than what I saw tonight. But look, Roman had 3 belts tonight. You would think that starting next week, he'll only have the 1. We may see Paul Heyman walk out with those 2 belts. Probably not. But what else is he going to do? I mean, Heyman doesn't do anything else. He just stands there. He'll feel kind of naked without those 2 belts. The Mount Vernon kid, Christopher Bennett. My God, the sheer laziness with this company, with their designs of late, is ridiculous. We need to start calling Roman's new belt the mustard belt. All I saw, and does it look smaller? I don't know that it looks smaller. It looked the same to me. It looked the same size as the other 2. Yes, I call it a hospital as well. I do not refer to it as a local medical facility. I also, you're not allowed in WWE apparently to call it a title shot. You don't get a title shot in WWE. You get a championship opportunity. It's a title shot. Devin from NJ, did you hear the news about Pacino and De Niro? No. What is the news on Pacino and De Niro? Are they okay? I hope they're okay. Which reminds me, I am overdue. It's been too long. I have not watched Heat. I try to watch Heat like once a year. It's one of my favorite movies. First time they shared the screen together. It's just such a great movie. I gotta watch it again soon. Taylor Cannon, the ending was awesome. Thank you, Taylor, for the $2. Lloyd Berry with the $25 super chat. Great comeback, Lacey Evans. Hopefully LA Knight is the Money in the Bank winner. Bloodline segment was excellent. Also, I can't custom the amount that I can say. Keep up the fantastic work as always. You can't custom the amount. You should be able to custom the amount. As far as I know, I think you just input the number. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's only in increments. I thought you could custom the amount though. But Lloyd, thank you though. I appreciate the $25 super chat. Angel Silva with the $4.99 says, "Here's a suggestion for a new countdown for the podcast. When Roman's run is over, you should rank all of his pay-per-view title matches. An awesome retrospect." I might do that. That's an idea. Talk to me in 4.5 years when Roman's run is finally over. And we'll see what we can do. Oh, okay, yeah, the Pacino. Yeah, I did see that. But you said Pacino and De Niro. You made it sound like they were having each other's baby or something. No, so Pacino, that would be weird. So Pacino, is he married to this girl or is he just going out with her? I don't know. Apparently Pacino, he's like 83 years old. And I think he's with a 20-something-year-old girl. They're having a child. And I guess De Niro also is having a child or had one with a woman much younger than him. Look, I mean, God bless him. That's what Blue Chew is for. That's why they make Blue Chew. I'd give you a code right now to use Blue Chew, but they never approached me. Every podcast. It's the crazy, I don't think I've ever mentioned this before. Every podcast. Like, you could have a podcast with 10 fucking listeners. So many of these fucking shows all plugging Blue Chew over the years. I've never been approached once. And honestly, I don't even know if I would have done it in the early days. I would now probably because, you know, have fun with it, but never got approached. But hey, God bless Timmy's Wrestling Podcast and his 17 listeners as he plugs away at Blue Chew. God bless him. Silver Tower, thank you for the $40 super chat. You are awesome. Fahad, you are awesomer. No, you're both awesome. But Fahad dropped a $120 super chat earlier to tell us all that the new belt is ugly. Lady Fire Panda with the $20. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Can't say that I have. Chris AXC with the $10. Book it. Money in the Bank. Usos against Solo and Roman. Usos win the match. Roman blames Solo. Solo spikes Roman. Out comes LA Knight. Cash in briefcase. New world champion. A star is made. Roman is protected. Everybody wins. You were being serious. So you think that LA Knight is going to cash in on Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank and win the championship? Chris, all I can say is you're going to be sorely disappointed if you set your heart on that scenario playing. I think the reaction in the building in London, it would blow the roof off the O2. But there is no chance of that happening. No chance. Chris says, what do you see Triple H doing with Edge on SmackDown? Can't pinpoint any opponents or stories for him unless it is with guys like Theory, Waller, or Knight. And I think you just nailed it. I think that there's a very good chance we see Edge working with someone like Austin Theory. Honestly, the first name that I thought of was Logan Paul. I could see Logan Paul and Edge doing a program together. Two part-timers. I mean, not ideal, but Edge with any of those guys, more so Theory though. I would have said LA Knight, but Knight, he's just edging, no pun intended, he's edging more towards babyface territory now. So I don't know that him and Edge really makes sense right now with the reactions he's been getting, the positive reactions. But Logan Paul's going to be back soon. So Edge and Logan Paul is something that I could see. Have I ever seen any Star Wars movies? No. I mean, I've seen like bits and pieces of the original, but I've never actually sat down and watched a Star Wars movie from start to finish. I did watch Spaceballs though. Even as somebody who didn't watch Star Wars first, so I missed a lot of the context, I enjoyed Spaceballs, which for those who don't know is a parody movie that came out back in the 80s. Actually, it parodied a few different movies, mainly Star Wars. Also Alien. You know the scene that I'm talking about. Brandon Vasquez, will Roman be more remembered for being in the Shield or being the tribal chief of the Bloodline? Tribal chief. Yeah, this right here is the run that will define him when it comes time for him to go into the Hall of Fame. The Shield got him to that point as far as being recognized as a main eventer, and he had already been a world champion before. He was never really accepted though as a champion until he went heel and became the tribal chief. So the Shield got him there, and then this character that he's in right now is what has taken him to the promised land. This is what took him to that next level. This is what was missing. This is what will define his career. Chris AXC says, one more for tonight. What do you think the WrestleMania 36 matches between AJ and Undertaker and Cena and Wyatt would have been like had it not been for COVID? I think AJ would have given Undertaker the best in-ring match he's had in years had they been able to go out in front of a live crowd. I think AJ was the best possible opponent for that. I think that Cena and Wyatt, it's hard to say what that would have been like. If the match in the ring would have been great, or it depends, because it was the Fiend character. We had seen John Cena and Bray Wyatt before, but it was a very different Bray Wyatt at the time when they wrestled at WrestleMania, where they had the cage match with the little kid. Remember the little kid who scared Cena because the little kid was singing a song? I remember watching that going, of course, Cena doesn't want to have kids. I'd be scared too. So I don't know. I don't know what that match would have been like, honestly. Probably not very good. Because by that point, Cena's been washed, man. Cena wasn't just washed this year. He's been washed for a few years now. So I'm not really sure what you would have gotten out of him even back then. Alex Silva, first the ketchup belt, then the blueberry belt, and now the mustard belt. That's right. We're covering all the different condiments. And now we just need the mayo belt. We need the mayo belt. We need the sriracha belt. But we've covered most of the key condiments here. Tony Biquette. Someone should ask Roman, pardon me. Pardon me, do you have any gray poupon? Where's the yes chain? There we go. You deserve a yes chain for that one. There's a reference that I got. Do they even sell gray poupon anymore? Pardon me. Do you have any gray poupon? And he can just hold up the belt and then his driver drives off. Silver Tower with the $30 Bully the Clown from 36 minutes ago. No more logo belts. Remember the Undisputed Championship belt. I like that one. Yeah, the Undisputed title belt from 2002 was not even my favorite, but that was a very classy looking belt. It's the Eddie Guerrero belt, the Brock Lesnar belt, Eddie Guerrero belt. We've got DEH Sires with the $4.99. The title is fine, but they really need to fix the gold around the title. It looks dark gold, and then the middle part looks bright gold. So then the title is not fine. You said the title is fine, but then you had 3 sentences explaining why the title is not fine. So the title is not fine. Anyway, thank you. Zachariah Sitchin with the 1999. When would you turn Bianca heel against Asuka or Io? Maybe the new Undisputed belt is under construction still. When do you turn Bianca Belair heel? Why not start now? Start the build now. You don't do like an overnight thing, but I think now is probably as good a time as any to kind of kick things off. I don't know. I mean, you could keep her babyface if you want to. Maybe now her in the chase role will do her some good. Keep her babyface, but she has to really fight and claw, you know, to get back to the championship. If they're going to do the inevitable Bianca-Charlotte match at WrestleMania next year, which is my prediction, I still would much prefer to have Charlotte in the heel role and not as a babyface. So then maybe you wait until after that and then turn Bianca heel, but now you're getting into another 9 months or so. I mean, that's a long time. Can they keep Bianca interesting and fresh enough as a babyface in the meantime? Do they have enough challengers for her? I'm not sure they do, honestly. Problem is, even if they turn her heel, it's not like they have this wealth of opponents to put her in the ring with. You know, they have a real depth problem when it comes to actual stars on that women's roster on SmackDown. MH Nova, Yo Solo, and GWO. Which belt will the NBA and NHL champions receive in a few weeks? Why doesn't Vince like women holding a briefcase for more than 1 or 2 days? I don't know, maybe Vince is very old school. He doesn't like the idea of a woman coming into the office with the briefcase, and he wants to get it off them as quickly as possible. I don't know. But then how do you explain his wife and his daughter working in the corporate office for all these years? I don't know. You're asking me to explain why Vince's mind is the way it is? You know what a dangerous question that is? I don't want to be inside that man's head. God only knows what happens inside that thing. Don't even ask me about his other head. That's what got him in trouble in the first place. What belt will the NBA champions get in a few weeks? I mean, probably not the new one. I don't know that there's going to be enough time. Probably the Universal, maybe the big blue belt with the side plates on it. I don't know. Josiah Ball, thank you for the super chat. Alex Silva with the $4.99. Rumors is that War Games is going to be stable warfare. Think we could see 3 teams instead of 2. Judgment Day, maybe the Usos, and maybe Cody, and maybe a new bloodline. Any rumors you're hearing about War Games right now, it's not even worth talking about. I mean, it's June. WWE has not figured out what the format or new format might be for War Games at Survivor Series this year. I doubt that very seriously. So honestly, it's not even worth speculating. It's way too early to be talking about that. We're also talking about factions that may not exist. Factions that exist in June may not exist in November. But Alex, thank you very much for the $4.99. Good old faction warfare. Hey, Silver Tower just dropped another 20 channel memberships on some unsuspecting folks here on this channel. Silver Tower added again. You know, I did forget to mention, we not only do we have the new emojis for channel members, you're only allowed a certain number of slots. And then you have to basically add X number of new members and you unlock additional slots. So Silver Tower has been killing it, but we have exhausted all of our emoji slots. And so YouTube tells me we need to add 90. This is before tonight. He's already dropped, what, 40 some odd gifted memberships. But we need to add 90 more. We need 90 more to unlock another 20-something emoji slot. So just be aware of that. We can't add any more new emojis unless we get 90 more members. So I'm putting the challenge out there to all you. Dan Richards, thoughts on Collision Toronto still stagnant as far as tickets. I did notice that. I think we got to give it another week or so. You know, Punk was only announced on Wednesday. I mean, obviously, it's not a great sign. But Punk was just announced a few days ago. So I think in a week, we'll have a better sense of whether or not he's a real needle mover as far as the Canadian shows go. You know, they're not going to be back in the States after Chicago for another Collision until Collision in Newark a month later. They're on that big Canadian swing. They're going to be in Regina and Saskatchewan and Calgary and all these different places. I don't know what kind of influence Punk will have there or impact he'll have on ticket sales. It's not as if Tony Khan announced him on Wednesday and within 48 hours, you know, they were selling 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 seats at these shows. When Roman Reigns got accidentally added to that one house show, which was a mistake, I think they moved over 3,000 tickets. Right? CM Punk has not had so far that kind of impact on AEW ticket sales since the announcement was made. But it's also been 2 days. So let's give it another week or so and we'll see where things are in a week. You know, to be fair. Jazz Jackrabbit. Hope you're fully recovered, Solo. Winston wants to know what that emoji is. Hey, Steve, clue him in as to what that is. That is Bane. That is Solo Bane. Jazz Jackrabbit says, hope you're fully recovered. Is Medusa retired? If so, then we really need her to come out of retirement and throw that new belt into the trash. Very good. Very good. Brumakian Productions, here's an idea. SmackDown takes keen focus on LA Knight as the top guy of the brand. I think that would be a great idea. I think that would be a fantastic idea. Ty in the chat says, you have to turn on the ability to get gifts, as mine was actually turned off. Yeah, so there's some people who have been wondering how come they didn't get gifted. First of all, it's randomly assigned. But you might have an option. You have to check your options because some people, I think, have the ability to receive gifts on YouTube turned off. And so if you've been noticing all these, you know, people being very generous and gifting memberships and you haven't been one of the recipients, that could be why. So check your options, and it could very well be that your ability to accept a gift from somebody is off and you have to flip that on. So a little tip for you. JM with the $25 says the WWE belt designs have seemed lazy to me as well, which is amazing since their profits are at an all-time high, yet their belts are Wish Reggie Park designs. I just don't understand it. There's so many talented belt makers out there who can produce, I'm sure, a very cool looking belt for them, and it's just the same old shit. And it's true. I meant what I said before. You know, House of Glory is not the only independent promotion that has...
Why is Solomonster a Punk hater? Why does he hate Punk so much? What did he ever do to him? Solomonster, why do you hate Punk? Why? 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 Breaking my heart. Every time I put the stream on. No. You're always saying something negative. Why? Leave Punk alone.
Hey, JM, thank you. Thank you for the $40. Retro Mintman. Retro Mintman with the $5 says, hey, Solomonster, random question. If Eddie Guerrero had not passed away, was he meant to betray Batista? Or was it a genuine face turn that he had? I always thought that the betrayal was coming. Now, I wasn't in the writer's room, so I can't say for sure, or if any of the writers at that time have commented on that since, but my thought was that the turn was inevitable. I think he was. Rizzo with the $20. Curious thought I had while I was at work. What if Solo SIKOA is the one who ends Roman Reigns' reign and not Cody? I don't like that. I don't like that idea. I mean, look, I like Solo. I don't think he's not ready for that. He's not ready for that. There are much better people, whether it's Cody or someone else, who should be in that position as the one to beat Roman. Now, there is an argument to be made that if you want to give the rub to somebody and really try to elevate a brand new star and make somebody, you go with a Solo SIKOA, right? Which I'm sure Roman would be more than willing to put over someone that's part of his own family. I don't think he's ready for that spot. I don't think he's the right person for it. I think that's too much too soon. Road Warrior Roderick with the 1992. Haven't watched the show. I'll probably just watch the Roman segment. Wrestling overall is becoming disappointing. I'm starting to agree more. Jim Cornette shaking my head. Can I get a storyline I can get invested in? Well, you have the Bloodline segment, right? You said you want to watch the Roman segment, so you at least have that. But yeah, some people are tired of it. Some people think that the sooner it ends, the better. But for SmackDown, the sooner it ends, it's going to expose a lot of flaws about that television show. Rizzo, also Skip Bayless is looking for a partner. I think you should go for that job. Skip Bayless is... If I had to go work for Skip Bayless and I had to watch and listen to him every day, I think I'd put my head through this wall. And I wouldn't pull it out. I would just stay embedded in the wall with cotton balls in my ears. Skip Bayless is just a fucking horrendous person to listen to. Absolutely horrendous person to listen to. I can't imagine why Shannon Sharp didn't want to work with him anymore and left the show. I can't imagine why. Skip Bayless is an insufferable prick. I don't know how people listen to that man. I really don't. JM, going back to Fire Panda's super chat from earlier, he chose Cam Girl that streams about his hatred for CM Punk. Oh, of course. Apparently, I'm the biggest Punk hater. Just ask me. Can't state facts anymore or opinions without just being a total hater, apparently. So there you go. Rizzo with the $20. Now let's not say Francesa is outliving you, Solo. In fact, I hope when we are all in our 90s and in the final sound off, you say, take care, guys, and we all go off into the sunset. Also, LOL at that Punk hater super chat. It's a brand new one. Brand new for all of you. I knew you guys would enjoy that one. See, one of the things I love about what I do, and one of the things I think that's so great about these super chats, for those who don't know, that clip is actually from the podcast just the other night. And there was a comment, friend, I'm not trying to pick on this person. I don't know that they were trying to be an asshole, but there was somebody who, the obligatory, Solomonster's a CM Punk hater. Solomonster's a CM Punk hater. One of my favorite things to do is to take a clip like that, commenting on a troll comment or just somebody who's being very stupid. Because sometimes it's a troll. And I take it and I clip it, and then I'm able to turn that around as a super chat and make money off their stupidity. It's just a great feeling. It really does. It just warms my heart. So by all means, please continue to be stupid, because you're certainly not hurting me. Paul Carpenter, have you ever thought about doing watch-alongs? I've done them a couple of times. I'm not really a fan of doing the watch-along instead of a review. And I think most people would prefer that I just wait for the show to end and then do the full review. I've done the occasional watch-along, though. We do watch-alongs also for classic shows. I know I haven't done one in a while. We'll get back to those soon. So I've done them. And if you have not seen any of the watch-alongs I've done, you can go on the channel and check them out. But usually they're for classic matches from like many years ago. Chris Mikesell with the 999. If Owen Hart never died, how would you book the rest of his career? He was supposed to win the IC title that night. Maybe he feuds with Chris Jericho that summer. The thing that I really missed out on, I think we all missed out on, there was one dark match, and that's all we ever got, was Owen Hart and Kurt Angle. I think Owen Hart and Kurt Angle would have been so much fun if they wrestled, but even if they were able to have a proper program at some point, that would have been fantastic. So that's one of those that I really feel we were deprived of. Do I think Owen would have gone on to win the world title? No, he was never going to win the world title. Even when he first came back at the end of 97, he had that one television match with Shawn Michaels. It was a missed opportunity not doing that match at the Royal Rumble. That was very stupid. Instead of the casket match, they should have done Shawn and Owen. But Owen was never going to win. Owen was not winning the belt. So I think he would have continued to wrestle for a while, and he would have had some great matches. And when he was done, maybe he would have become a trainer or a coach. Maybe he would have opened up a wrestling school. Joseph Brooks with the 999. This may be hard for you, but who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of U.S. champions, including WCW and WWE holders? History. Yeah, I mean, it's harder for me to do the U.S. title because I wasn't following all of the different U.S. runs in the NWA and WCW. I know of Luger's, DDP had a good run there for a while. Did Jericho hold the U.S. belt? I don't think Jericho held the U.S. belt. Goldberg obviously had a run with the U.S. belt. It was very dominant during that time. Flair. Magnum, right? Magnum TA, right? Didn't he and Tully work? That was for the U.S. belt.
A Punk hater?
Or was it the
Why
TV
does
title?
he hate Punk so much? What did he ever do to him?
Oh, Terrence, I didn't miss it. I got it. Thank you for pointing it out. I scrolled up too much. I got you covered. I almost missed his super, but just on the other one though, yeah, I can't, it's hard for me to just pick four. Luger would be on there. I meant what I said before. I think Luger may be the best of all the U.S. champions. You go back to that run he had when he was younger. So I think Luger has to be on there. Who the other three would be, though? I mean, John Cena? John Cena had a great run with that U.S. title open challenge stuff in WWE. I think Luger and Cena would be on there, but beyond that, I'd have to really go back and just take a look at who all the champions were. Terrence Toussaint. Yeah, I knew I was going to miss you. With the 999 says, thoughts on Logan Paul winning the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth. Personally, I don't think this is a good idea, but I do get the argument that it can bring more eyes to the title and the product. Logan Paul has been a revelation in the ring. He's fantastic, but no. And I'm not even saying that one day he can't be a world champion in this company, but for him to be the one to take the belt from Seth, no. I wouldn't do it. Rizzo says, forgive me if this was talked about on Wednesday, but are you going to review Dark Side of the Ring on the podcast, or like last season, will it be a separate review? I am planning on reviewing it on the podcast, and then it will make its way to YouTube. So if I do it that way, the reviews will basically go up on a 1-week delay on YouTube, but I feel like it's going to have to be that way because I don't have Vice. So a lot of times I'm not even able to get a link to the episode until like Thursday or Friday. Like, I haven't watched the full episode yet. I started watching it today. I got 10 minutes in, and then I got sidetracked by some House of Glory stuff that came up. So I'm not even going to be able to watch the episode until tomorrow. So my plan is to watch the rest of it tomorrow, and then I will talk about it on episode 811 on Sunday. So gives you more incentive to tune into the podcast on Sunday. Because even if it goes up on YouTube, it probably won't be going up until like Monday or Tuesday. So just tune into the audio show on Sunday. I got you covered. Lost the Sauce Boss with the $9.99 have not been in the chat for a while, but it's weird that people are more upset about Punk being back than Jeff Hardy. Saddens me as a guy who lost an uncle to a drunk driver, but he doesn't have to change.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
JM with the $50 Gunther drop. I'm surprised it took this long for Gunther to make a cameo tonight. Holy shit. By the way, we got new Gunther emojis in the chat for our channel members. Thanks to Steve Mello for putting that together. Every time there's a Gunther bomb, where are they? I should see the Gunther emojis. I don't see them. Thank you though, brother. Lost the Sauce Boss. Look, I've talked about Jeff Hardy before, so you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Jeff Hardy has gotten opportunity after opportunity after opportunity and is consistently welcomed back into these companies. And every time, you hope this is going to be the time, right? But you can't ignore, the fact that he has had all of these instances where he's put people in grave danger, especially this last time. That was just a serious situation. And people have a right to be upset about that. I've certainly talked about that. So, you're not wrong. Darth Bullsey with the 10 says, so what if Orange Cassidy, I think he means, comes to WWE and is being built up to take down Roman? Let's do it. Just have Cassidy get a bit more cut. I think people's heads would explode. The meltdown would be unbelievable if Orange Cassidy came to WWE to challenge Roman Reigns and was even remotely competitive with Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns had to sell for the orange punch, I think people would break their remote control. Some people. Dr. Scorpio, evil always triumphs over good because good is dumb. Darth Helmet. My favorite quote from Spaceballs. First time seeing that new belt, and yikes. Callum Davis with the $6. I know you would have touched on it Monday, but WWE have killed their brand split every week since the draft. Heyman, Shotzi, and AJ all on Raw. Did you expect any less? Not at all surprising that Vince McMahon was the one who made rewrites to the show on Monday and insisted that AJ Styles be added to the show. This is my shocked face. Rizzo, they made a movie about BlackBerry that I heard is very good. I'll watch tomorrow and give you all a review on Monday. Making some weird movies now, man. They had a movie about BlackBerry. They just did a movie about Michael Jordan's sneakers. They're running out of ideas for these movies. JM with the $5. They still sell Grey Poupon. I have a jar in the fridge. I put this ish on everything. Those old commercials worked on me. Those old commercials worked on me too, but there were no old commercials better than Mentos. The Mentos commercials were and still are my favorite. They were so cheesy, they were great. Anderson Blitz, I have a reason to celebrate with Roman Reigns on tonight's episode of SmackDown because tomorrow is my birthday. Gonna play some Street Fighter 6. Well, happy birthday to Anderson Blitz. When does that Street Fighter game come out, by the way? Is it out already? I thought it was coming out in June, but like later in the month. So I totally forgot about that. Street Fighter 6. Is that out on Steam, like to play for PC? Because I wanted to check that game out. I'd even considered doing some Sound Off Gamer for that, but I didn't know the game was out. Is the game out? Probably not on PC then, right? JM with the $40 Punk Super Chat. Apologies if I missed the programming note, but will you stream the review for the first episode of Collision? Who am I kidding? You would never miss an opportunity to hate on Punk. Of course. Of course not, right? Or so I've been told. I will be streaming after the first Collision. So that's Saturday, June 17th. As soon as Collision is over, I will be live on YouTube for the first episode. Beyond the first episode, we'll play it by ear. I can already tell you I will not be streaming after the week 2 episode. It's the summertime, it's a Saturday night, and I got plans. So, but you'll get me for week 1. You'll get me for the first episode. I have a feeling that it may end up... I had a feeling, all right. Hey, Yukio Rules, thank you. Thank you for the $25 Brie mode. I have a feeling... Yeah, my fear is that it's going to end up being a Rampage situation. I used to review Rampage every week until it just got to the point where it's like, what's the point? You know, I mean, what's the point? I hope for their sake that doesn't happen. I think with Punk, if the show is built around Punk, since he is a big name, then maybe they could avoid falling into the Rampage trap where the show after a while just did not feel, it just didn't feel necessary. That's kind of what happened with Rampage, and they have to try to avoid that with Collision. Nasir Alexander, top 5 favorite wrestlers currently and all time. Well, I don't know about top 5. I can't just vomit out a top 5 on the spot. But favorite wrestler at the moment, LA Knight is pretty high up on that list. He's a pretty entertaining guy, that LA Knight. So I would definitely have him on the list. I'm trying to think across all companies right now. Favorite wrestlers. And you guys can chime in on this too, by the way. Do you have a favorite wrestler at the moment? If so, what company is it? You know who's on my list? Okada will always be a favorite of mine. Okada he's great. He's fantastic. Will Ospreay is on my list for sure, and Mercedes Moné hasn't had very many matches this year. Now she's hurt. Looks like it's a severe ankle sprain, not a break, which I would say is a good thing. But there are some severe ankle sprains that are worse than broken ankles if they're severe enough. So she may be gone for a while regardless, but. Yeah, the fact that it may not be broken and she may not need surgery, that's a good thing, obviously. I think Mercedes is great, and I think she has great matches, and I just enjoy watching her work. So she would be on my list. Will Ospreay would be on my list. Those might be my top 2 right now, honestly. But definitely not Charles Mason from House of Glory. Fuck that. Definitely not him. Darth Bolsey with the $40. Stop attacking my punky. I am so triggered. I'm gonna make you eat fecal matter. Hey, some people react that way. You'd be surprised. Hey, Bolsey, thank you. EJ Slemp, you have also taken good questions and comments and turned them into super chats, like my Dark Knight Rises question that you made into the Bane one. Yeah, I mean, it's just, first of all, some people request certain ones. There are certain moments where people will go, that's a super chat. And I don't always agree with that, but sometimes if it's a funny moment or if I, say something stupid or whatever, okay, fine, right? But those are the best ones. Any content that I could convert with me in it that is not, copyright problem is great. So I know any super chat that I'm in is going to be safe and it's going to be perfectly fine. And it's not going to cause any problem. Because I had some super chat ideas, but I can't do it. Just, it wouldn't be allowed. But no, I love taking moments from these streams, especially if you guys like it and request them and turning them into super chats. Like I'm reinvesting in the show. Right? Why not? Why not? People want them if they want to engage with them, if they want to, they want to drop a super chat of a certain amount, then they should have the right to do that. And if they don't want to, they don't have to. It's all in good fun. Perk Angle, yes, Perk Angle is a favorite here on this channel. Cameron Spencer. I'm a huge Iconics fan. Bringing back the Iconics could bolster the women's tag team division. That'll be big time television. Are you down for that? Bringing back the Iconics will not bolster anything. I appreciate that you are an Iconics fan. I think they had their place, certainly. But if you think that bringing in the Iconics is going to somehow transform this women's tag team division, I can't even call it a division. There is no division. There really is no women's tag team division. It does not exist. It's a bunch of teams just slapped together. They don't always last very long anyway. It's not a real division. Bringing back the Iconics will do nothing. Absolutely nothing for that division. It's not a reflection on whether or not they're good or bad. They will have no impact. There's no team they could bring in that will have any impact. Abyssal Zones. Now no one gets to hold up 2 belts except Roman. That's not true. Kevin and Sammy, they each have 2 tag team belts. See? Did you forget about your undisputed tag team champions? I think you did. I think you forgot all about them. JM dropping that $50 Goonthar super chat. That, my friend, is also worthy of some love from the sound off crowd here. Right. JM says, I've got to ask, since you're in the business now, is your hatred for Punk a shoot or a work? I say work, with Punk making a payoff appearance at Hog, chucking muffins at you. Meltzer says it's a shoot, though. Well, if Meltzer says that my hatred is a shoot, then you got to take Meltzer's word for it. Punk and Hog would be very interesting. That would be very. I may have to call in sick that day. But Punk and Hog, hey Punk, everyone's welcome. Punk is more than welcome. Anybody is welcome. Not even on account of me. I mean, we got some great talent in Hog, man. This show coming up on June 16th, by the way, we got Vikingo, who I know is on Rampage tonight. And I might actually, when we're done here, go check that out. We have Vikingo making his debut. That match announcement is going to be coming up within the next week. We have Carlito, fresh off his appearance in Puerto Rico at Backlash. He's coming into Hog to challenge Matt Cardona for the HOG World Championship. That's just 2 of the matches so far. There's going to be a lot more announced in the days ahead, so stay tuned for that. DEH Sires, Bianca cut. Oh, by the way, yes, Speedball as well. Speedball Mike Bailey is coming in. His opponent has not yet been announced, but we have Speedball Mike Bailey coming into House of Glory. That's one that I'm very much looking forward to. Speedball has been everywhere, and he has been absolutely killing it everywhere he's gone. Now we get him in Hog. This is going to be great. DEH Sires, Bianca cut an NXT heelish promo in a backstage promo. Well, there you go. What I said before may be coming to fruition. Maybe they're going to be going into the heel turn now and not waiting. Terrence, Imagine Roman losing his title getting dumped into a tank of mimosa by Orange Cassidy. Darth Bullsey. Love Cornette, especially his rants, but the rant of Orange Cassidy. How the hell did this happen? Still, Orange Cassidy can save WWE from Roman. Yeah, Bliss fan, I first talked about Bianca and Montez as a heel duo, I don't know how many years ago. Anybody who listens to the podcast, you've heard me talk about that before. And so tonight we saw shades of, possibly a heel Montez down the road, what that could be. You put him and Bianca together, you got a new power couple in this company. Yukio Rule says, here you go, Solomonster, with the 25 bucks. Yukio, thank you. Yukio does indeed rule. Devin from NJ, maybe CM Punk snubbed Solomonster at a party. Yeah, maybe CM Punk slept with my girlfriend. I hear he had a habit of doing that back in the day. Fancied himself a ladies' man. Can't hate on him for that. JM, I don't know if it was ever a super chat, but your ice mocha corpsing lives rent-free in my head. It is not a super chat. I have it clipped. I have it clipped and saved for the eventual highlight reel, but no, it is not a super chat. I was just so caught off guard that first time because I mispronounced it. I totally didn't get the reference. I just saw that it said ice mocha lot of wheat. I thought it was like some kind of coffee or something that he had named himself after some new brew at Dunkin'. And I'm like, ice mocha. That sounds kind of, and then I'm like, I'm saying it out loud and I'm like, all right, I'm a dummy. And I just lost it. Because it was so clever. Like, I smoke a lot of weed. I'm like, Wiz Blue has a reminder. He would like everybody to know that the Mets lost today. You think you're getting under my skin? I mean, this has been life for me for how many years now? You're not telling me something that I'm gonna be shocked by. But Wiz Blue, thank you. The Mets lost today. The sky is blue, grass is green. What else you want to tell me? What else you want to tell me? All right, so the goal tonight, man, that was a lot of messages, man. You guys brought the heat. The goal was 400. We are at right around 530, which means it is time to give it a go one last time here this week. We are going to try to correct the horrible injustices that have been done the last two times and be the booker. We have gone 0 for 3 back-to-back times. Can we kick out? Can we rebound from these horrible performances? We're about to find out because it is time to be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Oh man, Steve is going to have to update these Be the Booker images. This one's already outdated. Roman no longer has his 2 belts. So it is time to be the booker. And we are going to kick things off by trying to book a men's match here. I might have my promoter license revoked if this goes sideways here. Time for some redemption. That's right. New month, new start. That's right. It's June 3rd. Officially now, it's June 3rd. All right, we kick things off with Broken Matt Hardy, who I believe is being offered as some sort of pre-order bonus. Oh, it's my soul. JM activating Brie mode here. But correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Broken Matt, or is it regular Matt? Or both, are being offered as some sort of pre-order bonus for Fight Forever. All right, Broken Matt. Gonna go one-on-one with Abyss. Broken Matt Hardy against Abyss from TNA. You know, Broken Matt originated in TNA. So if we're talking about old school Broken Matt here, we're talking about Abyss. There he's got Janice in his hands. I always liked Abyss. We have finally redeemed ourselves. Because got to give that the bell. I got to give that the bell. I think that would be a good match. So already we are off to a good start. We have broken the streak. Finally, I got that elephant off my back. I got a good feeling about this. I got a better feeling about this now. Landing on Sensational Sherry. You know, I saw this tweet going around this week where it was pointed out that when Sherry Martel passed away many years ago, that next to nobody came to her funeral from the wrestling business. I think literally the only people from the wrestling business who came to pay respects to Sherry after she passed away were Marty Jannetty and Booker T and Sharmell. And I believe Booker T and Sharmell even paid for her headstone. Nobody else came out to pay their respects to Sherry. And I think that's pathetic. I think that says a lot about the wrestling business. And this idea that you make friends, you don't make friends so much as you just kind of make acquaintances and you have a lot of coworkers, but at the end of the day, you know, what do they really mean to you? Evidently not much. I heard similar stories about Mean Gene, you know, when Gene Okerlund passed away. There are certain people you would have expected to be there at his funeral, and they weren't there. It's very sad. But Sherry was awesome. And let's see who Sherry is going to be getting in the ring with. It's going to be Sherry going one-on-one with Deborah McMichael. I love Sherry, but that's an awful match. That sounds positively awful, and not because of Sherry. So now we go to the tag team Be the Booker. It comes down to this. We're 1-1. This will be the tiebreaker here. And all of our channel members, by the way, for those of you who are unaware, in the new emojis, there is a bell and a buzzer. Not literally a bell and a buzzer, but you've got two two emojis there. One that you could use for the bell. You'll see the guy from the Rocky movie, ring the damn bell. And then you'll see John Moxley shaking his head. Nope, that's the buzzer. So feel free to use them in the chat. But here we go. We begin with Massey and Mansois, the Maximum Male Mid-Carders. Brand new here, just added to Be the Booker. Now they lost their manager, too, Maxine. They've taken Maxine Dupree away from them and put her with Alpha Academy. So now Mansois and Massey are all by themselves. They're going to be taking on Hook and Danhausen. You know what? Fuck it. I think that would be a very entertaining match. I don't care what anybody says. Mansois and Massey against Danhausen and Hook. I think I would be sports entertained. I'm feeling generous tonight. There you go. 2 for 3. 2 for 3. And Be the Booker after back-to-back goose eggs. I'm very happy with that. That's my pre-show match. That's the kickoff match. Put those two teams together. Yeah, you got to have some comedy. That's what they did with WeLC many years ago on that paper. Was it Extreme Rules? They did WeLC. And they had that on the pre-show. It was very entertaining. This would be like my WeLC. Only they're, average, normal size. Except Massey. Massey's pretty tall. He's a pretty tall dude. We got JM with that $25 super chat before said, Brie the Booker. Oh my God. Brie the Booker. Ugh. And JM says, I think we can all agree Brie mode fixed Be the Booker. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what did it. And Dr. Scorpio says, update 3 for 12 in the last 4 Be the Bookers, 2 for 3 to start June. He's going to be our official stat keeper. I'm going to call you Stat Boy. You're going to be Stat Boy for Be the Booker. I don't keep track of that stuff, so I'm going to rely on you. Brie the Book. I can't get over that. Brie the Booker. Anyway, I have gone through all of your messages, and I thank you so very much for hanging out with me here. Roman had a big celebration. We had a big celebration here on a Friday night. This was good shit. We covered SmackDown. We covered all your questions. We rebounded and Be the Booker. We did everything that we needed to do. Now it's up to me. Up to me now to deliver Sound Off 8/11 to you. That'll be this Sunday. And, of course, back live with you on Monday for the Monday Night Raw stream. The first Monday Night Raw stream here for the month of June. We have a lot of live streaming to do, a lot of events coming up this month, including the Collision debut, Forbidden Door coming up later this month. There's no WWE pay-per-view, but there is going to be a lot of content coming your way. I hope you will be here with me, and will join me for all of that. Silver Tower just dropped a super chat. What is going on here in the live chat? What happened here? Silver Tower said, you said you needed 90 new subs for new emojis, so here you go. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Silver Tower. It's just, look at this. It's just going and going and going. Silver Tower just gifted 50 channel memberships. 50. 50 new members. That's like $4.99 a piece. 50 new channel members. It's still going. Look at all these people getting their badges. You're all like my little deputies now. Look at this. Mr. Cheese and Cakes, Jason Thompson, Jaron Stamps, Ben Espinoza, on and on and on and on and on. Look at this. Silver Tower, man, you are in the Sound Off Hall of Fame. I don't know what to say. Silver, I like that. Silver towers over all of us. Indeed he does. Man, you talk about the MVP. I'd give Silver Tower the bell, but I don't have the bell in this scene. That's not how this works. If the bell sound is not imported into this particular scene, I can't. The button's not going to do shit. So let me see if I have a good. I don't know. You know what I got? I got something for Silver Tower. I got confetti. That's what I got. There we go. We'll drop the confetti. Thank you to him. Thank you and welcome to our 50 new channel members, some of whom will not even know until probably tomorrow or next week that they have a new membership, but they do. Holy shit. Near just saw the new title, Man, These People Are Lazy. Indeed they are. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I hope things are going okay. I know there's a few other messages here, but they're buried here in these alerts. Here we go. Juan Ocampo says, Solo, the AEW and Elite Water pail carrying shill, always looking the other way and always blaming Punk for the drama. As a Punk fan, he says, it is funny. The water pail carrying shill. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. Going to put that on a t-shirt. Thank you, Juan. Oh, my God. Look at all of these new channel members. My goodness. My goodness. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody's super chat. Rizzo says, holy crap. Silver Tower. And Dr. Scorpio says, I nominate Silver Tower for Sounds Off Hall of Fame. I said he's going to be inducted. I'll do the induction. I'll give the induction speech. Well, this has been quite the stream. This has been quite the stream. Francisco Martinez in the chat says, Ray has me, and then he's got the googly eyes. Well, I mean, if you're talking about, Ray, talking about Ray Wrighton, can't say that I blame you. Ray's awesome. I always see her at the Hog shows. Hopefully I'll see her at the next one. She's with us in the chat as well. She's always hanging with us. Francisco says, I love this place. So do I. I think I may stick around for a while. What do you think? I think this place is going to work out very well. This whole sound off place. Ty says this stream was easily 3 times better than SmackDown. Hey, outside the Bloodline segment, I think you're right. Steve says, can I make more emojis now, Solomonster? Yeah, you can. We should discuss what they are, though. We should discuss ideas for new emojis for our wonderful new channel members. So we'll work on that. And like I said, live again Monday night for Raw, but don't miss out on Sound Off episode 811. That's coming up this Sunday. Probably will include my Dark Side of the Ring review. Raw thoughts, since I didn't get to stream my Raw thoughts from this week, I will talk about Raw. And the CM Punk news, and a bunch of other things as well. NXT, Battleground, and your mailbag questions. Don't forget to email me, thesolomonster@gmail.com. Be well, stay safe. Silver Tower, you the man, you know that. Everybody else, thank you so much. You blew me away tonight. Blew me away tonight. I don't know what else to say. I'll see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you back here soon. Hey, Rizzo. Rizzo says, what do I have to do to get me and Mandy Rose in a love angle on Hog? You need to get in line, buddy. You think you're going to be the first in line? I don't think so. That's what the commission's for. See you guys Monday.